All right, all right. So welcome to the Power Up and Market Update. It's June 17th. I was going to say July. It's June 17th. I'm very excited to be here with all of you. I don't have a super cool wig like Mr. Steven Diaz, but I did brush my hair today. And shout out Mr. Steve for creating some fire content. And today's Power Up, we're going to have a special guest cover his listing presentation, and I know you guys are super excited to hear about. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to run through some slides with just some powerful information that I compiled for you guys with some market updates that are local. And also just a quick reminder, be fully present, bring your full attention to the Zoom, eliminate all distractions if you possibly can. Obviously, if you're driving, please keep your eyes on the road and listen. Don't look at the camera or the screen. Focus and stay with the conversation. Drop insights, please. Also, please engage in the chat. If you guys get something, you're like, oh, this is a powerful nugget, please drop it into the chat. The more that you engage, the better that it's going to be for you and the better it's going to be for everyone else. So please engage in the conversation. And remember that this message today is specifically for you. So we're going to get into Master Your 6% Listing Presentation with Master Listing Coach, Mr. Gabe Mendez. So he will be on in about 45 minutes. So before we get started up, you guys already know that I like to amplify my energy. We all like to amplify our energy here as a community. We're going to run through these affirmations together as a community. So then this time, I will encourage you guys to unmute yourselves because I do want to hear you guys say these affirmations. I don't want you guys to be quiet in this section. So I'll go ahead and unmute yourselves, participate on this affirmations, powerful affirmations. So I'm just going to say 1, 2, 3. We're going to say power up. We're going to do that twice. And then I'm going to say the phrase and you're going to repeat after me. All right. So 1, 2, 3. Power up.
Power up.
Power up.
1, 2, 3. Power up.
Power up.
Power up.
3. Power up.
High energy equals high income.
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 Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better.
Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better.
Every day and every way, I'm getting stronger and stronger.
Every day and every way, I'm getting stronger and stronger.
Every day and every way, I'm getting smarter and smarter.
Every day and every way, I'm getting
smarter and smarter.
I was born to win.
I was born to win.
I will never surrender.
I will never surrender.
I will always keep growing.
I will always keep going.
I was born to be great.
I was born to be great.
Today will be the best day of my life, no matter what.
Today will be the best day of my life,
no matter what.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys for saying these affirmations loudly and boldly. That feels good every single time. So yeah, go ahead and mute yourselves at this point. Thank you so much for participating in these affirmations because I really do believe in my heart that high energy equals high income. You will need to be confident. You will need to be influential when you're signing contracts, when you're opening up that escrow, when you're picking up the phone, when you're knocking on that door, when you're doing the open houses. And now I'm going to encourage all of us to breathe together as a community. All you need to do for this exercise is breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. We're going to do that 6 times. The last breath, go ahead and hold it as long as you can and then let it go. So inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. 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 And exhale whenever you feel ready to. My brain is saying thank you for the oxygen. So if you feel lightheaded, you feel woozy, that's your brain saying thank you for the oxygen. So thank you so much for participating in that breath together. I encourage you guys to practice that before you could do any sort of activity, especially if you're going to do something difficult. Get yourself centered, get yourself focused. You're going to be much more powerful. And gratitude, as I always say, is an abundance multiplier. So what are you grateful for today? So tune into gratitude, feel gratitude, right? What you could be grateful for is just, the ability to be alive, the ability to be here in this conversation. I am so grateful for all of you being here in this conversation today. I'm so grateful for the opportunities. I'm so grateful for life. I'm so grateful for the warm cup of coffee. I'm so grateful for the breath fresh of air I was able to breathe. I'm so grateful for the ability to see. I'm so grateful for the ability to speak. I'm so grateful for my mind, body, and soul. I'm so grateful to have God in my life. I'm so grateful to be alive. So, what are you grateful for today? Right? Tune into gratitude. Feel gratitude, because gratitude is an abundance multiplier. If you want to attract more things into your life, tune into gratitude and now visualize. Take a moment and create a vivid image, vivid movie in your mind. You know, what kind of business are you visualizing for yourself in your future? It's a year from now. You've accomplished all of your goals, all of your dreams. What kind of car are you driving? What kind of clothes are you wearing? How are you walking? How are you talking? Who are you with? Who are the friends and the acquaintances and the people that you have around you? What does your bank account look like? Where are you traveling to? What does your family say? And what do you say to your family? And how awesome does it feel to be a provider, to be a leader, to be the person you said you were going to become? How does that feel? Visualize that. And now we're going to move on to our goals. And your goals, you should read them out loud to yourself twice a day, in the morning and before you go to bed. Our goal as a community is to serve 21,000 families, $10 billion in volume, and to attract 10,000 agents to our community. So here's a local market update. I'm just going to run through these local stats. I'm running 5 counties. And if you haven't ran your numbers for the week, I highly encourage you, because you need to know this information. You need to know your numbers. And that way you can communicate this with confidence to your clients. But check this out, right? There's a bunch of crazy noise in the market. There's a bunch of crazy noise in the world about interest rates and inventory and blah, blah, blah. Well, look at the numbers. $1.4 billion in sales in just the last 7 days that closed in LA. 795 million in Orange County that closed in the last 7 days, 225 million in San Bernardino, 436 million in Riverside, 653 million in San Diego. This is the last 7 days. I shared these stats the other day with somebody that was outside of our community, and they were like, "Man, what is that? A first quarter? Is that like a month?" And I'm like, "No, this is 7 days. 7 days, okay?" So if you ever catch yourself saying, "There's not enough business," look at the numbers. $3.5 billion in closings, 3,200 properties, $90 million in commissions paid in the last 7 days. So if I was you, I would be asking myself, how much of that $90 million do I want for myself and my family? Because that's the reality. That is the truth. That's why I like to look at the numbers every single week. Also, last week I went into this new home source professional. This is a tool. It's not an EXP tool. This is actually an MLS tool that I highly encourage you, because I think a lot of people actually are not taking advantage of this tool. 1 out of 4 transactions are new builds. So who wouldn't want to have a new build MLS? This is what this is. New home source professional, provided to you by your MLS, is a new builder MLS. You could find any property and any area, and this is going to be a super cool opportunity where you can actually integrate your clients and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to be a reminder again, because I know I have to say things a couple of times for it to stick sometimes. So please don't miss this tool. It's super powerful. You can find it on your MLS. And if you want to find out how to get to it, previous training that I did last week, I recorded it. So the other thing is that we are covering 42 states and I think 11 countries now. Actually, I was saying for the longest time we're in 38 states and 9 countries. So we're like in 11 countries now, 42 different states. So if you guys want to refer clients within our network, every single one of you has already been added to this. So Terry will drop in the link here for the link how you can access and find agents within our community, because a lot of you actually ask us like, hey, do you have so-and-so in this state? Do you have so-and-so? So this map, it's interactive. You can click on the location that you want to go to, and bam, you're going to go ahead and get to the agent that you want to work with there. So really cool stuff there. The other thing is that if you guys noticed, we actually went to build a house out in Baja, California 2 weeks ago now. And we did this in about 10 hours. Shout out to Mr. Jose Perez. Actually, it was just his birthday, and he actually just went and built a house, for a family. So kudos and congratulations to you, Jose, for being an extraordinary human being, and happy birthday once again, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So what we're doing as a community is that we're going to go ahead and my goal, right? You know, we make huge goals because we built out a house when, you know, Jose built out a house. That's 2 houses. So we have it as a goal to build 10 houses. So we want to raise $100,000. So we're calling it collaboration of impact. We're going to get everybody involved, real estate, loan officers, escrow companies, and huge shout out also to Michela Alvarez with Golden Coast Escrow. She's actually going to be contributing 25% of her escrow fee towards donations to Baja Bound to build homes on her next 10 escrow. So really cool stuff happening. If you guys have more questions, if you guys want to get involved, if you guys want to come out with us, please reach out to myself or Terry. We'll give you guys additional information. But it's been an extraordinary experience for us. And I really think that when we serve, when we go out there and be the difference, it's just different. I just highly encourage you. You guys don't have to go build a house out there, but just go out there and be a contributor to society. So one way or another. All right, cool. Now, moving on, I just want to give you guys additional context, right? We are having some powerful trainings. Mr. Mo, you know, out in Bakersfield, which him and his beautiful wife do 100 transactions a year. He does trainings Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 9:15. So you're going to beef up your skills. Mr. Jose Perez is also doing a Agents Basics training on Wednesday as well. Powerful stuff. And Winner Circle Wednesday, do not miss that. They have various topics, super powerful stuff. And now, what we're going to go ahead and do is switch gears because we're right around 10:17. So before we bring up our guest, which I already know a lot of you know, Mr. Gabe Mendez, I want you guys to let me know in the chat if you guys are ready to listen to this powerful conversations all about mastering your 6% listing presentation. Before I bring up Mr. Gabe Mendez, I just want to give you guys some context for those of you that do not have the pleasure of knowing him. He's a top producing real estate professional out of San Diego. He's in the top 1%. Him and his beautiful wife, Cherish, they do about 100 transactions a year. And he's been in the business about 10 years. And he's phenomenal at sales and marketing and presentation. And one of the things that I saw, this was actually last year, he did this to his private group. He did a live listing presentation in front of the entire room at an event. And I was blown away, number one, by the professionalism, the presentation, and how powerful it was. So I've invited him. I've asked him to come and speak to our whole community. So without further ado, let's go ahead and give a huge welcome to Mr. Gabe Mendez. Let's go. Welcome to the call, brother. Let's go.
Leo, what's up, brother? Thank you for having me on today's call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you can help me out and if you can maybe co-pin me or pin me for everyone to see.
Yes. Oh, man, you're wearing a beautiful tie, my friend. Let's go. Of course.
Dang, hey, man, I was looking fresh today, but man, you outdid me, bro.
Steve, you're always looking good, man. You're my number one. And Leo, hey, brother, I just want to say thank you for having me on your call today. It's always a pleasure and an honor, bro. Ever since I met you 2 years ago, getting to know your heart, the person you are as a person, inside and out. You're a beautiful spirit. So I just want to thank you. I also want to give a big shout out to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for allowing me to be on this call here today with all of you guys. So thank you guys. I'm excited to be here.
Amen.
And bear with me because I was ill the last 3 days. I almost canceled last minute, if I'm being 100% transparent. But I thought about it and I was like, I gave Leo my word. I said yes. And, character is everything to me. Integrity is everything. So I'm showing up on game day. I'm practicing what I preach. So bear with me, you guys. Thank you for today. So today is all about mastering your 6% listing and how to get that done. And the reason we wanted to talk about the problem today, the topic today, is because over the last 10 years of my career, I've talked to a lot of real estate agents. And the biggest thing that they all tell me is, Gabe, what should I have in a listing presentation? And I don't know what to say and I don't know what to do. And I'm curious. I just want to know who I'm talking to. How many of you on today's call, kind of struggle with the listing presentation? How many of you struggle with what goes inside of it? How many of you struggle with, hey, Gabe, I've gotten lucky because my SOI, I get listings easily because people know me, but I'm scared. I'm actually scared to go on a listing presentation with someone I don't know because I don't feel prepared and I don't feel qualified. That's a big one. If you guys can drop it in the chat, how many of you guys resonate with that? How many of you struggle with overcoming objections? The moment in a listing presentation when the seller says, hey, they're going to do it for 4%. or this person is going to do it for 2%, or you know, X, Y, and Z companies out there, and this agent's really well known in this area. You're not from here. How many of you guys struggle with some of those topics? How many of you struggle with how to prepare your listing, how to present your listing? How many ask yourself this question right here? I think this is the number one thing, which is, how do I close? What's the closing sequence? And so for that reason, I early in my career decided to go ahead and go all in, on buyer mastery, because one thing I learned was buyers turned into listings. And then when I finally started getting in the listing game, I learned how to have a very strong listing presentation. And so if you're struggling with anything on listings today, if that's you, and I see the chat right here, yes, me, thank you, yes, amen. Okay. So a lot of you guys are struggling with some of these things that we're talking about, and that's common for everyone. So I want all of you to feel okay, feel comfortable knowing that this is just part of the process. We all have to start somewhere. But I promise you this, I promise you that as long as you implement what we're getting ready to teach, things will change. I lose about 20% of my listings that I go on. I don't get them signed, they go with someone else. 20% of them I lose, but I get 80% of them signed all the time, on the spot. 80% signed on the spot, majority of them at 6%, some of them at 5%, but they get signed. And for those who want to know numbers and math, how many listings that is, every 4 out of 5 listings that I go on, I get signed at 6%. The 5th one that gets away for whatever reason. And I'm currently working on the largest listing of my career. Big shout out to Louis Chavez for bringing me on the team, but it's a $7 million listing here in San Diego, a commercial deal. I've been praying about that, praying, and little by little getting very close, but getting really, inching closer to it. And I'll tell you this, there's a huge benefit to being a listing agent versus a buyer's agent. And there's a big leap that you have to make from becoming a buyer's agent to a listing agent. You have to learn how to speak, how to present. You have to know how to set proper expectations. You have to have high-level customer service skills. You have to know how to market, how to sell. There's a big leap in skill set, and there's a big leap in pay. As buyer's agents, sometimes we have to give 0.25% of our commission, 0.5% of our commission. Sometimes agents are only offering 1.5%, 2.5%. And with this new law change, all of us are going to have to learn how to start closing our own buyers on how to pay us a commission. And with listings, I'm taking 4% on average on the listings that I'm selling. And the average sales price for me in San Diego is $700,000. So I'm taking about $28,000 every single time I close a deal. A big shout out to EXP for allowing me to keep 100% of that. I didn't have that most of my career, but that's what it is. And I promise you this, as long as you glue yourself to this method, everything that I'm going to teach you, your closing ratio is going to increase, your confidence will increase, and more importantly, your income will increase. So if you're excited about that, go ahead and light up the chat. We'll jump right into it. Drop it in the chat. Let me hear you guys make some noise. I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. I don't know how to do this effectively, but I'm going to try to do this here. Desktop 1, share. All right, Leo, I'm going to need your help with this. Okay, can you see me going through these slides here? All right. Never mind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir,
thank you, guys. Okay, so before we get into that, I want to let you reintroduce you guys to who I am, why you should be listening to me today. My name is Gabe Mendez. I'm born and raised here in San Diego, and I grew up very, very, very poor. My parents divorced at a very young, early age. They divorced at the age of, I think it was 5 or 6 at that point. And my mother, being the amazing mother that she is, she worked 2, 3, 4 jobs at times, and she went and provided for us. It was a very, very challenging time because we were basically raised by our tias and our tios and our cousins and our abuela and our, all that stuff. And mom was out there grinding, making it happen. So we grew up in my grandmother's home. And when I got into about elementary school, my mother said, this isn't for us. I don't want my kids going to a ghetto elementary school. So she moved us across the freeway. If you're in San Diego, it's south of 54 over into Bonita. She put us in a 1-bedroom apartment, and that got us into the 91902 zip code. So that allowed us to go to schools like Sunnyside Elementary, Bonita Vista Middle, Bonita Vista High School. And at that time, that was a very wealthy area. That's where all the money was. That's where all the affluent people in South San Diego lived. And so she got us into a good school. but we lived in a 1-bedroom. We lived very, very, very poor. And so, you know, she worked all day, we came home, and because of a lack of presence of a parent, I got into a lot of trouble as a minor. Got arrested at 14, 15, made some bad mistakes, regretted a lot of stuff, a couple of DUIs at a young age. So, you know, it just wasn't really, really simple for me. It wasn't easy. And one thing that I knew, though, was looking up at everyone, was growing up in this area, was I want what they want. Why are these families having big homes? Why do these families have multiple cars? And every single time I'm going to a friend's house, they have their own bedroom, they have their own gaming setup, their own PlayStation. And I didn't have that. Remember, we're sharing a 1-bedroom apartment in Bonita, and we didn't have all those things. So I started really wanting this different lifestyle that I had than what was offered to me at that time. So, you know, I grew up eventually, you know, did really, really well for myself. And I decided to start my journey in entrepreneurship. So, you know, I started off a few years ago, and I'll kind of fast forward a little bit so you guys can see this. But you can see the date. I wanted to date stamp this so that you guys could see it here at the top right. So in August, I graduated high school in 2005. I played around to different industries for a while. I went into the Department of Corrections, worked there for a few years, got laid off, tried to get into CHP, tried to get into the correctional officer, broke my ankle. I was laid off by the governor at the time, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then around August in 2012, around that time, I was introduced to a multi-level marketing company, signed up. I grew a huge organization there. I think I recruited personally about 70, 80 distributors. We sold weight loss products. We traveled the country. I spoke on stages. I did all those miraculous things, and I did that for a couple of years. And then one day, this guy right here that I'm circling, Carlos Garcia, this guy gives me a call and says, "Hey, buddy, you're killing it in what you're doing, multi-level marketing. I see you crushing it." He said, but you're not doing anything during the day. He said, all you're doing is selling shakes at night. So why don't you come into the office? Why don't you become my assistant and this lady's assistant, and you can TC our files? And I showed you the date right there, March 1st, 2013. So I decided to say yes, and I joined the team. For those who can't recognize, that is me right there, the purple and white. Don't take fashion advice from old Gabe. I don't know what I was doing back then. Joined the real estate team, hopped in, started doing all the files, working on the files. One thing that I learned really quickly was that this guy's clients here and Fabiola, their clients were always sad and mad every time I was talking to them. And I found out they were losing their homes. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? And this guy finally told me what happened. He said there was a crash in 2006 and 7, 8. People lost their homes due to predatory lending, couldn't afford their properties. And that's when I had an aha moment. And I said, that's what happened to my family. My mom bought a house for us. We ended up losing it. We ended up going back to my uncle's garage, living very poor. And that's when the light bulb went off. And I said, well, who's advocating for these people? Who's stepping up for them? And I decided to go ahead and go and get my license. Where is that at? I didn't put the picture up. That's all right. I decided to go ahead and get my license at that time. Studied, practiced. I ended up getting it. I told myself, I'm going to be the guy who advocates for first-time buyers, first generation first-time buyers. Low credit, low income. That was who I was. About a year and a half of rough patch. Went through a deep, dark depression. In 2015, I decided to give my life over to Christ. I decided to stop living my life the way that I wanted to live it. And I said, you know what, God, I've tried my way. I tried their way, the world, and neither of them work. So I'm going to go ahead and give my life to you, God. So I got baptized in 2015. So big shout out to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I started in real estate. Here's April 4, 2016. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not easy. It wasn't simple. I started making the cold calls. I started knocking on the doors. I started learning how to make mistakes really fast because I knew as a real estate agent that it was big to learn as an entrepreneur that you had to fail forward, that you had to take losses as quickly as possible, that the wins don't teach you much. It's the losses that turn into lessons that teach you a majority of the lessons you're going to have throughout life. So I quickly started door knocking. I learned how to sell. I learned how to speak. I started attending places like Toastmasters. And wouldn't you know it, in March 29th of 2014, March 29th is my birthday, March 2014, I ended up getting my first sale. And could you believe who I sold my first home to? I sold it to my mom. So that's my mom right there. I decided to take a picture and start promoting. So these just sold photos and just listed photos that you guys see all throughout social media and people posting with their clients, I don't think any of them started before I did. I have a big feeling that I was probably one of the first 5 tender agents in the entire world that started promoting their sales on social media. So I helped my mom buy a house in 2014. That was my first sale. And it was very difficult after that. But again, I stuck with it. I worked hard. I continued climbing the ranks of my company. Very quickly, I started getting recognized as a top listing agent month after month. People were like, man, this guy's killing it. And again, top listing agent again. And so I started learning things through this process. I started learning that people respond to the way that you dress. They respond to the way that you speak. They respond to your level of skill set and confidence within yourself. And they can sense these things. They can sense when you're not sure at the door. They can sense it when you're sitting at the table and you're not sure. They can sense it when you're speaking on camera or speaking to them in person. And they're like, there's something not rubbing me the right way about this person. I'm just going to say, I'll think about it. And then I'll never answer their phone call again. How many of you out there today on the call, has that happened to any of you out there where someone said, I'll think about it, and they don't answer your call? I'll think about it. They go with another real estate agent, and you're sitting there scratching your head like, dang, what did I do? I thought I had it in the bag. Drop it in the chat. Who's that happened to? Where's my chat at? Let me see if I can see you guys. Yes, me. Yes. Yep. A lot of you. Yes, happened all the time. Now, this is due to something that I learned called incongruency. So what ends up happening is your message, the way that you dress, the way that you portray yourself, the way that you put yourself out there, the way that you speak, the way that you look, all of that needs to be congruent with your message. So if you're telling someone, I'm the best listing agent, if you're saying to someone, I can service you better than anyone else, if you're convincing a seller that I'm worth 6%, but your body language, the words that you're saying, and the delivery of your words don't line up, they're incongruent, their sixth sense, their stomach, their vibe, their energy is going to pick up on your incongruency, and you're going to make them feel weird. You're going to make them feel they're going to lack confidence in your ability, and they're going to say no. And depending on the personality type, they just might say no to your face. They might say, I'll think about it and I'll get back to you. But you will lose a lot of listings because of these small tweaks you're unaware of. And I learned all that early in my career. But the only way that I learned it was by showing up on game day, knocking on doors, making phone calls, making cold calls. That's the only way you do it. So for a lot of you who are out here thinking to yourself, how can I get better at listings? How can I get better at buyers? How can I get better at public speaking? How can I get better at presentations? The biggest way that you can get that done is by going out there and knocking on doors, going out there and picking up the phone. That's the only way you get better. I tell my kids all the time, the only way you get good at swimming is by swimming. The only way you get fast at running is by running. The only way you get good at presentations and communication and identifying personality types is by knocking on doors and making the phone calls. That's the only way. And yes, they're going to be embarrassing. And yes, it's going to hurt your ego. And yes, they're going to cuss at you. And yes, they're going to tell you, leave me the heck alone. But that's part of the process. And that's okay. So we showed up on game day, sold my mom her first house. I started crushing it in real estate. And then I met my wife, of course, and in 2020, we ended up buying our first home together. And then in 2022, we ended up buying our second property together. And I started becoming an investor, and I started putting my money into places, and I started becoming an entrepreneur and putting my money in different places. And then very quickly, I started getting asked to speak on stages where people started hiring me and paying me to fly across the country. They flew me to Miami and Dallas and Denver and San Francisco and Los Angeles. There's a lot of places that I was asked to speak at because of my ability and my skill set. But more importantly, it was because of my dedication to excellence. I am all in my sport. This is what I live, this is what I breathe, and this is what I do. And so people started recognizing that. And I finally started getting my opportunity on stages. And the largest crowd I ever spoke in front of was about 900 or 1,000 people. And that was at my let with Leo Robles. And this is the second largest stage I spoke in front of in San Diego with 800 realtors from across the county. My team eventually started to grow. And I started off as a solo agent. I started hiring assistants. I started hiring showing agents. I started hiring listing coordinators and managers and agents on splits. And I learned how to fail very fast at that too. And I was like, dang, growing a team isn't as easy as scaling a solo business. And I'm curious, how many team leaders out here, or how many people are in the process of starting a team, and you're quickly recognizing it's not as easy as you thought it would be? How many of you think, how many leaders out there started growing a real estate team and thought to themselves, I'm a top producer, I'm killing it, of course they're going to follow me. And then you quickly realize you got some leadership skills you got to tighten up on. You have to create expectations. You have to now learn how to lead other people, which means leave your business alone and go grow other people. Well, that took me a 4-year journey to learn how to do that at a very, very high level. I lost some really good agents. I've kept some really good agents. I made a lot of money. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've learned a lot of lessons in the process. And now I'm excited because we have a total of 192 agents in my team, my group from across the country. My agents locally here in San Diego are just crushing it. And for my personal production, the last 5 years, you'll see here, I've closed a total of 232 transactions in the last 5 years. Not my team's production, not anyone else's production, Gabe Mendez's production. And the majority of these were buyers who eventually, when I made the leap into listings, I learned how to do it. And so I earned a lot of money. I learned a lot of lessons, and I become a really, really, really good listing agent. I've taken listings from agents who are experts in an area. I was called and asked to fly to San Leandro, which is the Bay Area, Northern California, to sell a listing at 5%. And there were agents who were local boots on the ground who did not get the listing. I've been asked to drive to Los Angeles, San Bernardino, Orange County. With one of my agents right now, we have 2 listings in Orange County. I've been asked to travel all throughout the state of California to take listings because I learned these things here and how to become a better listing agent. And I just became that guy. I started to turn the swag up. I started to have a little more fun with it. And I started to become this listing agent that people started to love to work with. And they're like, man, this guy makes it easy. It's smooth. It's fun. I mean, look at this. This is one of my favorite clients because he's like, I think he's like, I don't know, late 50s, early 60s. And these are his daughters and his wife over here. And look at him in front of his mansion in Bonita. I think it was like $2 million listing. And look at him standing in front of it with us outside. I mean, that just speaks volumes of the relationships that we're building. Look at this couple over here. We ended up selling their property. He has a very high profile job where I can't really talk about which sector he's in, but he works for the government. And we ended up selling his house, and he had a great time doing it too. So I just became that guy. I just turned on the swag, learned how to close, learned how to present, and all these skills that we're going to talk about today, those are all the things that we ended up doing. And at the very end of the day, very end of the day, everything is duplicatable that I'm getting ready to teach. One of my best testimonials is a recent one, is Juan Escocia. I talk about him all the time. He just completed his first 12 months in real estate with me. He worked very, very closely with me for the last 12 months. We worked on presentation. We worked on closing. We worked on how to dress. We worked on sales comparables. We worked on everything closely for 12 months. He has 0 experience in residential real estate. And his 12-month anniversary just came up in May. And as of June, the first week of June, he's closed a total of 16 transactions with me. Most of them are listings. He just picked up his biggest check, which is $45,000 or $40,000. He just bought a $2 million home. Like, he's crushing it right now. And he doesn't even ask me to go on listing presentations with him anymore. He's closing him himself at 6%. So Juan, if you're on here, big shout out to you, man. I want to say I love you. You're a brother in Christ. You're an inspiration. And thank you for being an amazing student at that. So that's how we do it. And that's how it's done. So let's talk a little more. How do you master your 6% listing? So the first thing that I want to talk to you about today, we're going to transition into it. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything here in the comments. Oh, Raul Lopez, big shout out to my boy Raul. Technically the first agent to ever have on my team. I got mad love and respect for this guy. Really, really awesome guy. He started making cold calls with me before he got his license. That's how awesome he is. And he started closing people. I think he honestly has the best voice in real estate. If you think you have a really good voice, go up against his voice. I bet you his is better. That's how awesome Raul is. All right, let's talk about mastering your 6%. I love you too, brother. Let's talk about mastering your 6% listings. All right. So first thing we got to do to master your 6% listing. What do we have to do? I want to change the way that you think. I want you to stop thinking of yourself as some presenter and you're going to battle with the seller, and stop getting these nervous feelings when someone calls you and invites you over. And it's easy to close someone that you know. It's easy to close a friend or a family. It's easy to close a past client. But I'm talking about when someone calls you from social media, when someone calls you from a sign, you knock on a door, or you've been cold calling and it's time for you to compete. That's what I'm talking about. So I want you all to start thinking of yourself now, not as this presenter, as this closer, as this real estate agent. I want you to start thinking of yourself as a professional. And when you think of yourself like a professional, it gets really, really easy. You don't have to stress anymore. What do I mean by that? Start thinking of yourself like the doctor. So what happens when you go to the doctor's office? You go to the doctor's office, you get checked in by the secretary, they pull you into the back, the nurse reads your vitals, you go inside the back, the doctor walks inside and says to you, confirms all your questions, confirms where the pain is at, and within 5 minutes, he has a diagnosis, a prescription, and then he's out. Is that true or true? That's exactly what a doctor does. And at no point does a doctor feel uncomfortable with you. Step on the scale. At no point does he feel weird saying, hey, listen, I don't know how to tell you this, but maybe if you can, would you please go get an x-ray or an MRI and let me know the results, please, only if it's okay with you. What do you think? You don't see a doctor getting timid and shy. How many of you would feel weird if your doctor walked into the room and was timid? His shoulders were rolled forward, his head was down. He wasn't confident, wasn't making eye contact with you, didn't know what he was saying, was stumbling over his words and asked you, hey, would you be okay if I referred you out for an x-ray and MRI? Would that be all right with you? What do you think? Drop it in the chat. How many of you would feel weird if no trust? Leo says no trust. How many of you will feel weird if your doctor that you went to started acting this way in front of you? I would ask for another doctor. I love that, Hector. I would ask for another doctor. Absolutely. But how does your doctor walk in? Man, that doctor walks in with that white coat. He has the stethoscope over his neck. He's walking in with a clipboard. He walks in, shakes your hand, makes eye contact, sits down and says, where does it hurt? What happened? How long has it been happening for? Okay, based on what you told me, this is what I need you to do. Here's your prescription. Come back to me in 2 weeks. That's my next appointment. But as real estate agents, we walk in there timid and shy. We walk into like the first doctor where we're uncomfortable and we're not sure. Of course you're uncomfortable. Of course you're not sure. Number one, you're not dressed like a professional. Number two, you didn't study your material. Number three, you haven't been practicing your speaking habits and your body language and your nonverbal communication skills and your closing and presentation skills. Of course you're not sure. The doctor has 8 to 12 years of schooling for medicine. And all of us, 6 months for a certification. And we think we're ready to list a $2 million home. A 6-month certification, and we're wondering why we're not getting a call back. A 6-month certification, and we can't get listings, and we're working with buyers, and we're settling for that. Let that sink in for a moment. How many of you have committed to coaching? How many of you committed to mentorship? How many of you have swiped your credit card and said, I'm going to go into debt, just like the doctor went into debt at medical school for 8 years. I'm going to go into debt so I can learn how to sell, learn how to speak, learn how to close, learn how to dress. How many of you are committed to this career? I can probably guarantee you a very small amount. And I can tell who the ones who are committed are. They're the ones who walk differently, speak differently, dress differently, act differently. When they walk in a room, they light it up and their confidence radiates off of them. But all of us, we're upset because we got a certification that says, I'm a realtor. You take a fancy headshot, you post some cool videos with some cool background noise on Instagram. Now you're an influencer, but you're upset that no one's calling you. I did the same thing too. I've walked that path. I just showed you that I walked that path. But I'll tell you this. I don't know any other real estate agent who's invested more time, more money other than Leo into this game than I have. I don't. I've paid for every single sales course that's out there. I've paid for every single marketing course that's out there. I've been speaking publicly for the last 12 years, every single Saturday at 8 a.m. Still, this last Saturday, I was doing it. And no one wants to join me because it's not sexy. It's not fun. They'd rather be on the boat on a holiday weekend. They'd rather be at a club or drinking or partying. They'd rather go for a hike on a Saturday morning. Gabe, I can't go Saturday morning. That's my kids' time. That's my sleeping time. Okay, that's okay. The doctor didn't make that excuse. And guess what? He's making big money. The attorney didn't make that excuse. And guess what? He's making big money. Big money requires big sacrifice. And so I decided to go all in and learn how to do all these things right here. So I want you guys to start thinking of yourself as that professional. And it's a simple transition. Yes, you are certified. Yes, you are being trained. Yes, you have mentors and coaches in your life that are willing to pour into you to make you better. And yes, I do expect all of you to go ahead and do that. So the next time you walk into an appointment, remember, you're the doctor. They invited you over. They said yes to you. You are qualified and you are worthy to be there just like the doctor. So make sure you walk in with confidence. You dress up looking like money. You practice your script. You've rehearsed. You've role played and you're ready to close at 6. And if you do those things, the confidence, just the shifting of the mindset, you're already more than 50% of the way there. Confidence is everything. The second thing I want you guys to do is to start working on your listing presentation. Let me go ahead and let's see here. I don't make sure I missed anything here. Got some amens in there. Perfect. Let me go ahead and bring this up. So one of the biggest questions I get is, Gabe, what goes inside of a listing presentation? What do we do? What's up? So I'll talk to you about what goes inside of a listing presentation. And then afterwards, I'll talk about the framework of closing this listing presentation up. So here we go. Number one, your listing presentation needs to have references. You have to have references. Number one, who you are and your references. I have okay from clients to say, yes. You don't want to know something that's so interesting right now? I'm not even joking you. You have to look at the camera at this. Look at this. So if you guys see, look at this name right here, Rachel Victa. I want you guys to see that. I'm not even joking you. Look at this right now. Look at the camera. Please go focus.
There it is. There it is. Right there.
Okay, that is my client, Rachel. Let me pull up her name. That is my client, Rachel. This morning at 10 a.m., she just sent me a property that she wants to buy. It's like worth $2.2 million. That's the same client that's on the reference for this thing. I sold her house back in 2016 for a 7% listing, $750,000 price. She's been with me now for almost 8 years. I've sold, bought, because I treated this business like a business. And so I'm sharing that with you. That happened just this morning. She just sent me the text while I'm here with you guys today, which is pretty incredible. So your listing presentation, you have to have references. Think about this. If I want to hire any other professional out there, I want to hear from references how you did. Before you fly to Turkey and get the jobs done and the hair and the body and all that stuff, or whatever they do in Turkey or in Tijuana or Mexico, wherever you guys go, or men, if you want to, before you go get whatever it is that we want to get done. You know, I broke my nose. I have to get a nose job pretty soon because I can't breathe as much as I used to. But whatever you do, you have to get references for that work. You look at their past results. You speak with current clients and you said, hey, how was that doctor? How was that surgeon? How was that personal trainer? Did he deliver the results he said? So you have to have your references inside of your listing presentation. Inside of there, you have to have a plan. So number one, you're going to have your story about who you are. Number two, you'll have your references. 3, you'll have your plan, your market analysis, which is right here, your plan. You'll have a net sheet, and then you'll have your agreement. This is what your, yes.
Quick question, my brother. Sorry to interrupt you here. I know
You're
you're on
good.
a roll. For your references, right? I think it was 2 people that posted the same question, so I just wanted to easily address it. So for somebody that's newer, doesn't have the references, what would you say?
It's simple. Lean on your team leader, lean on your company, lean on one of the immediate associates that you're working with. So I didn't have the references at the very beginning either. So I put in 2015, I put my office manager, I put my escrow rep, and at that time I was working with those two people. I put them as a reference as well. So I was just leaning on people that had the experience. So if they called, they can call my office at Coldwell Baker and say, oh, the manager was like, yeah, Gabe's stellar. If they were to call Carlos and Fabiola, oh, Gabe's incredible. So anywhere they were calling, I was getting all the references. So for those of you who are part of the team or part of the group, use me as a reference. Dolores is really good at this. She's one of the agents that we have in Orange County. She'll call me and I'll talk to the seller right on the phone. Oh yeah, I work with Dolores all the time. And then we're just leaning on each other's experiences. Thank you, Leo. I can't see the questions.
Thanks, brother.
So you have your CMA. Now your comparative market analysis report. This one's really important. I use Cloud CMA. That's the software that I use for all of my CMAs. So I don't do what typically most agents do, which is go on the MLS, print it out. I'll go to the MLS. I'll take the MLS number. I'll put them into Cloud CMA. Cloud CMA organizes them in a very beautiful fashion where you can see the properties and where they're at in proximity to one another. It breaks them down in graphs with all the photos and shows you all the statistics of when they sold, average sales time, average sales price. And I include that inside of the presentation. So that's my CMA. And then afterwards, you're going to have your plan and you're going to have your marketing plan. You're going to have your results that are inside of here. And these are all things that you want to have inside of your listing presentation. Your marketing plan, what are you going to do? What makes you different? Your photos, your print material. Now, I want to pause here for a quick moment because I want you guys to look at something. I want you to look at how excellent this is. Look at how clean this looks. Look how professional it looks. Look how simple it looks. It's not a bunch of loud, different colors. There's not a bunch of things that talk about me in there. There's been one page that talks about me. Everything is about the work that I'm going to produce, the results that I have, and how I'm going to help the seller get what they need. That's what the listing presentation is all about. I'm not talking about me. And look how clean and simple, and everything's just backing up my story, my portfolio, homes that I've sold in the past. And I go through these houses and I tell them, look at my marketing, look at my photos. They're touching the material. They're looking at my postcards and they're saying, wow, these are your postcards here. They look beautiful. These get mailed out to everyone. You want to earn 6%? You better show your clients why they're worth 6%. And I'll tell you this, if you're not showing your clients why you're worth 6% and they call me and I come over and then I show them these print material that I'm going to bring, I show them these results that I get on Instagram and Facebook for their 23,000 people reached on a post that I made a couple of years ago back in 2021. Hey, look, my numbers are only getting bigger. 23,000 people on a coming soon post, not even on the MLS yet, Mr. Seller. What do you think that would do for your home if I can put your property in front of 23,000 people? And guess what they'll do? Oh, well, I'm interviewing other agents. Pull up their Facebook, pull up their Instagram, pull up their YouTube. Let's compare. And then I show them. My Instagram, my Facebook has all these things. And unfortunately, due to time, I can't break down everything together, but you guys get the idea. I show them the results of what that looks like in followers here and followers and our YouTube channel, what that does, and the exposure it gets for them. So moving forward, I show my portfolio and I do all those things. So this is what's inside of your presentation. Don't get too hung up on this because this is only a reference point and you're using this as a story during the actual presentation. Listing steps, here's a consultation, print this out. This is what I need from you after you sell your property. I leave them with this at the end of it. So right here, I'll spend just a couple of seconds. On the left-hand side, you're looking at the listing steps so they understand how to sell the property. On the right side, I leave this with the homeowner and I say, this is what I need from you. So I need you to start working on all these things for me. I collect everything up front. And don't worry, we'll send a copy of this to all of you. I show them the open house feedback forms, the social media stuff we're going to be doing. I show them the results of how we work, why we're the best. I'm a certified EXP luxury agent. I pay my $5,000 a year dues for that. I qualify because of our volume and our sales prices that we sell here in San Diego. In the listing presentation, I include the net sheet. I include everything, and then I reference back at the very end of what we covered. We plan their move date at the end of the listing presentation. This is my assumptive close, by the way. Does anyone know what an assumptive close is? If you know what an assumptive close is, drop it in the chat. What's an assumptive close? And right here, when I'm sitting down with them, I said, okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what did you say you want to move again? All right, and so if you want to move by that date, that means we have to have it closed by this date, right? Okay, so we have to have the grand opening on this time, the active date on the MLS at this time, listing, and then we have to start prepping the home on this date. Does that sound fair? And I get them committing to all of these steps right there on the thing. By this time, we're about 55 minutes in. They're not going to want to sit with another agent after I smell good, look good, wowed them on the presentation, and they've already committed this many actions. And here's what I need from you, an agreement, and then after that, I go for the close. This is what goes in your listing presentation. I'll end with this. Here is the framework of your listing. So number one is the initial call. Write this down, or maybe my love, you can write it down for me. So here's the framework. This is how a listing should work. Number one, you have the initial phone call. This is where you're talking to the homeowner. You're asking them questions about how many mortgages do you have? What's your date? When do you want to move? What's your loan balance? During your initial call, you have to have a minimum of 5 questions that you ask the homeowner. And you have to have 5 questions that you're ready to ask at any time. If a homeowner runs into you at the grocery store, calls you, sends you a DM, you need to have 5 questions that you're ready to ask. How long have you lived there? What's your loan balance? When's your deadline for moving? Do you have any second liens on the property? What's the HOA on? Have 5 questions that you're ready to ask at any given time. That's the initial phone call. And I actually have a full list of questions that you should ask when you're not rushed on what those questions should actually look like. And Leo, I can probably send those over to you too. So you have the initial call. That's number one. Number two, after you have the initial phone call, let them know you're going to email them a packet, and you're going to schedule one more call with them before the actual presentation date. On the initial call, ask the questions, let them know I'm going to email you something, set the date for the appointment, and then let them know I'm going to call you 1 to 2 days before the appointment and 1 to 2 days after I email you the information. Email the pre-listing packet. The pre-listing packet should include your listing presentation, the net sheet, the sales comparables, and it should also include your contracts, and then examples of your marketing material. After you send everything over, you call them 1 to 2 days after they receive the pre-listing packet, 1 to 2 days before the listing presentation, and you use the pre-qualifying script. This is called the pre-qualifying call. So you have your initial consultation, then you have your pre-listing packet, then you have your pre-qualifying script before the appointment. And this is where you ask the tough questions, and this is how you prepare for the close. For example, you might say, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, when I go out there tomorrow and everything makes sense, you're gonna be listing with me, right? And they might say to you, actually, we're gonna be meeting with a couple of people. Oof. I would rather know that then so I can prepare for it than not ask the question and catch it at the dinner table and now I'm stuck. Because when I ask you if you're interviewing anyone else, they might say, yeah, I'm interviewing Raul Lopez, I'm Jose Tapia, Leo Robles. I'm like, fudge, I'm going to get some heavy hitters. So I need to prepare my listing presentation so I can find defects in their game. And when I sit down at the kitchen table, I can expose those defects. Yo, do you see Leo? Look at this. He's always on making phone calls. He doesn't have time for your listing. I'm just joking with you, brother. But I'm just using excuses, and I'm sitting at the listing table and I'm exposing these people. This is how I'm able to disqualify other realtors because I've prepared for it. And on the pre-listing questions that I have, these are organized questions that you can ask people, and you can start getting all the objections up front. Did you review my packet that I sent over? Yes, I did. Do you have any questions about it? Gabe, I noticed that you charge 6% listing. Is your 6% negotiable? That's a really good question, Mr. Homeowner. And it seems like what you're netting is very important to you. So here's what I'll do. When I sit down with you tomorrow, I'll spend a little more time about the commission structure and how it works. So this way, you know how it works and you feel comfortable with it before moving forward. Does that sound good? That sounds good. I didn't handle the objection. I deflected it. I know it's going to be an objection. So now I have 2 days to prepare for the commission objection. Is this making sense? Drop it in the chat. Is this making sense? Oh, Tapatio. What did I say? Tapia? Sorry about that, Tapatio. That's what I meant to say. Is this making sense? Jose, everyone, yes. Talia, yes. Everyone's making sense? Okay, perfect. I need to make sure we're on the same page. After that, set the presentation, execute the plan, and then you close at the very end. This is how you run a high-level listing presentation. At the dinner table, it's nothing more than asking questions. It's nothing more than being the doctor. Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, you said it hurts right here, right? You said that you wanted to be here by this time. Is that correct? And that you said you needed to do this? Okay, based on what you're telling me, this is how we're going to achieve what you need to get done. and let me show you how my company does this differently than anyone else. And then after I take them through the whole game plan, here's my secret sauce. You guys ready for my secret sauce? At the very end of it, when the whole presentation's finished, I learned this from one of the biggest luxury realtors in all of San Diego, who now runs one of the biggest investment firms in San Diego. He was on HGTV. I learned this from him. If you're ready for the secret sauce, say secret sauce. Drop it in the chat. I want to make sure you guys are still with me. Just 2 people? I'm going to just text it to Jose and Leo then.
Let's go, bro. Yeah, all 130 people don't want to listen to the secret sauce, I guess. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
So here we go. After you're done sitting with the homeowner, there we go. Everyone's awake. After we're finished, wowing them before the appointment's even done, just like a doctor and attorney would do. They take all the pre-qualifying information up front. So when you meet with the attorney, you meet with the doctor, you're getting straight to business. After you've done all the pre-qualifying work and you look like a professional and you sound like a professional, when you get to the house and you go through the whole plan before, and as soon as you give them the prescription, here's what we're going to do to sell your home differently than anyone else. When you give them the prescription, at that point, that's a very heavy conversation. Here's the secret sauce. You take 2 to 4 minutes, nothing less, nothing more, to just small talk. That's awesome. Okay, it sounds cool. And then you sit back, you mirror match their body language, you relax a little bit, and you have small talk with them. You just chatter about whatever. Now, don't pander too much. No one likes to talk too much, but break the ice, relax, get them smiling, get them feeling good about their decision. And then this is what I do all the time. I'll do this. I'll say, oh my gosh, it's incredible. Wow, no way, Leo. That's awesome. You guys did that. I did a home build back in Mexico not too long ago too. That's incredible. What's the next one you guys are doing? Oh, no way. That's awesome stuff. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot that it's 11:02. I want to respect and honor your time, so I'll make sure I head out pretty soon. Just out of curiosity, you guys ready to start working together? And they're like, yeah, ready to start working together. Or I might say, just cool, man. Hey, look, I feel comfortable with you guys. You guys feel comfortable with me. You guys ready to start working together? And they're already laughing. They're smiling. The husband and wife always looking at each other, and they go, yeah, let's do it. I immediately stick my hand out and I shake their hand. And I say, great. I need to get your autograph on a few pieces of paper before I head out of here. And I wrap it up quickly. So the secret sauce is small talk for a couple of minutes, ask the closing question. Hey, you guys ready to partner up? You ready to start working together? I feel comfortable. You feel comfortable. Look, I'm happy here. Are you guys happy here? Depending on the personality type. And then I stick my hand to their chest. I shake the hand. I get the physical commitment. And then I say, great. Before I head out of here, I just have to get a few papers signed. I have to get a few things autographed by you. And I don't make it a big deal. And I put the paper and the pen in their hand, and they start signing every single time afterwards. That is how you become a master at a 6% listing presentation. This is how, as long as you guys implement the framework, you implement the changes in your business, you implement these closing strategies, you will increase your closing ratio, you'll increase your commission structure, and you'll increase your income. And Leo, I apologize. I know we're 3 minutes over, and I didn't expect us to go that far over. So
good, bro. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you guys for having me here today.
Bro, let's go ahead and give Mr. Gabe Mendez a lot of love and give him a huge shout out on social media, please, guys. This is extremely valuable, bro. Thank you so much for sharing with our community. And there's been a couple of people that have asked about the listing presentation, and I know that obviously we didn't talk about this beforehand, but if you are open to it, I do have a form that everybody can fill out so they can send it out to them where they can put in their email and all that good stuff. Obviously, Gabe has used this to sign, almost, a lot of listings here, guys. So I want to make sure, is that okay? So I can drop that link in here?
Yeah, brother, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
I'm a big part of the community. So if you guys want a copy of the listing presentation, please fill out the form that Leo's going to send to you. And I'm also, for those of you who are interested, starting a school platform on SKOOL. So it's an online community, $25 to sign up, and pretty much you're going to get all of my past listing videos and training videos. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and sign up for it and let me know. And then if you want a little more hands-on one-on-one coaching for your listing presentations, closings, it's $99 a month. I don't know the capacity of it, but go ahead and sign up if you guys are interested. $25 and $99. Fill out the form down below, and we'll give you a free copy of our listing presentation.
Let's go. Thank you so much, Mr. Gabe Mendez. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for contributing. This was super powerful. I took pages of notes myself. Guys, I did drop in the link here as well for you guys. Go ahead and fill out the information. That will give you a copy of listing presentation, and that'll also send you out the information for the school platform as well. thank you once again. And God bless you all today. I hope you guys found immense value like I did. But dude, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much once again.
Always, brother. Love you, man. Thank you.
All right. Cool. Let me go ahead and drop it once again before I close out the meeting. And again, we're 5 minutes over. Save that. If you guys do happen to miss the link for any reason, please send out a message to Terry or Cherish, and we can get you guys over the copy of the listing presentation. God bless you guys. Let's have an amazing day. Let's grow. Peace. See you guys.